The best way to buy land at half price is to realize that most agents and landowners don't actually know what their land is worth. And so therefore, when you look at property that's listed on the market, the prices of these pieces of land are largely just random numbers that are deliberately way higher than the actual market value of the properties that you're looking at. You see, market value is established by the buyer, not the seller. And so when a buyer makes an offer on a piece of land, if the seller actually wants to sell that land, they're going to have to sell it at the buyer's price. And the buyer's price is often going to be 10, 20, 40, or even 50% or more below the original asking price. Take a look at what happened on this 41.9 acre property on Cameron Hill Road in Cameron, North Carolina. This property was brought to market for $240,000 in July of 2022. The next month in August, there was a price cut to $229,000. 30 days after that, they cut price to $215,900. And then the next price cut was $205,000. Then a $40K price cut to $165,000. Then it went pending, and then it sold at $155,000, which is 35.4% below the original asking price. But guys, it gets way crazier because right down the road, take a look at this one. 10 acres that sold on 194 Line Road in Cameron was listed for sale in February 2023 at $110,000. Eventually, no one offered on that property, so the listing expired 6 months later, but then it went back on the market the next spring at $50,000. And it finally sold at $50,000, which is 54.5% below the original asking price. But guys, this next one, you're not even going to believe it, because right around the corner is this 22.3 acre property on Barbecue Church Road in Sanford that was listed for sale in March of 2022 for $2.5 million, price cut to $1.9 million a couple weeks later, then $1.7 million in May of 22. Then there was a price cut to $1.2 million, and then in September, it didn't sell, and so the listing expired, and the listing came back on the market the next month in October with a price cut. And guys, are you ready for this? $269,000. But then it didn't sell. 5 months go by, price cut to $264,000. 5 months after that, it went pending. Then it sold at $241,000, which is more than 90% below the original list price for that piece of land across just 18 months of time on market. If you think that I'm cherry picking data, I probably went through about 15 listings just to find these three. They are all in a 10-mile radius in the same county, and it took me about 5 minutes of research to actually find these three listings. I would estimate that about 15 to 20% of all land that has sold on the market across the United States is going to have these same exact kinds of extreme price drops. You can find these examples in any market that you look at, and that's my point. When you see a piece of land that's listed for sale and it's been on the market for over 6 months without an offer, the market has already rejected that price. The seller's asking price isn't real. So the question is, then what price is real? Well, the answer is that would be your price, because you're a buyer and the buyer sets the price, not the seller, remember? The real question for the seller is, do you want to sell that land? Yes or no? Because if the landowner actually wants to sell, then they need to find an actual buyer. But the problem is that there aren't that many of them in the market for any one piece of land at any time. So depending on what that buyer offers, if the seller actually wants to move that property, they may have to come down from their ivory tower. And when they do, they may have to sell that land at market price or potentially even lower than market price. Just for context, I have personally bought a piece of land for $20,000 that was worth $45,000 and was listed at $80,000 when I bought it. It's documented on this channel in a separate video. The bottom line is that if you ignore the asking price for the land that you're hoping to buy, and instead you focus on what that land is actually worth and what you can actually pay for it, your job is going to get a heck of a lot easier. And when you're willing to make enough offers, you're going to eventually find a piece of land to buy at half price, just like I did. Now, if you're curious about buying land and you want to gain access to proven step-by-step process for evaluating markets, knowing what land is actually worth, conducting thorough due diligence, and getting the funds that you're going to need to complete that purchase, take a look at my brand new course, the Land Purchase Navigator. Guys, this course comes from over 10,000 hours of my own personal land buying experience across hundreds and hundreds of transactions that I've distilled into 5 hours of video education just for land buyers like you. With land analysis guides, downloadable due diligence checklists, and all the tools that you're going to need to buy the perfect land at the right price with no prior experience required. Check out the link in the description below and take a look at the Land Purchase Navigator. You're going to be happy that you did. Speaking of what land is worth, I want to leave a link to the next video on our channel, which is going to show you how the market sets the price for land and how you as a land buyer can figure out what the value is of the land that you're looking for in 2 minutes or less. I really think you're going to like it.